Hello, it's Regina. Welcome back to my Haunted Drive-In. Today I have one of my favorite films from the late 80s, and that is The Lost Boys. This movie came out in 1987 and is directed by Joel Schumacher and stars Kiefer Sutherland, Jason Patric, Diane Wiest, Jamie Gertz, and the two Coreys, among other people. It has a really nice cast, and let's get started. This film, I know I didn't see it at the drive-in. I think probably the first time I saw this was at the movie theater, and I loved it instantly. And it didn't get the best reviews at first, which I'm kind of surprised, but it went on to make a lot of money. So this isn't really, I wouldn't consider this like a low-budget drive-in kind of movie, but just because of the level of fun, I think it definitely fits into that category. Of all films that I've seen, horror films that really find that it's hard to get that sweet spot of comedy and horror blended right, this film, I think, does it better than any film I can think of. I mean, even a film like, a great comedy like Young Frankenstein doesn't quite have the horror element. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's really not that scary. This film, not that I'm really scared by it now, but when I first saw this, when I was in my 20s, I thought this movie was pretty scary. It definitely had some frightening moments. So it takes place in a fictional Northern California beach town called Santa Clara, which is actually shot in Santa Cruz. And I've been to Santa Cruz, and in that pier and everything is very much like that. It feels a little more upscale now, at least when I went a few years ago, but it definitely has that vibe. There's a lot to like about this film. One thing I really enjoy is the soundtrack and the musical montages. We see this young family moving in. Diane Wiest plays Lucy, a newly divorced mother with two kids, a teenage son, Michael, played by Jason Patric, and Sam, he looks like he's maybe like 13, played by Corey Haim, or maybe 12, 13. They move into this kind of eccentric beach town, and we see this montage with the Doors song, People Are Strange, playing a Doors cover, and we see this community of weirdos, and it really sets the stage for what is to come. And while we're seeing like these kind of like punk rockers and eccentric people who live in this beach town and kind of some wild kids, there is you see just pictures of people hanging up posters of missing children. So I remember this time in the 80s, and I don't know if they still do this, late 80s and the 90s, you would see like the kids' pictures on the milk cartons. They definitely play that up in this movie. That was a real thing. I don't know if they still do that, but yeah, there was always that sense of the kind of scary, what happened to these children, where have they gone? And this film, by setting that stage in the beginning, and the fact that it's called The Lost Boys, like I guess it's a reference to Peter Pan, that, it sets us up as kind of like a creepy scenario. So then we get into this domestic scene with the grandfather, who's this eccentric old codger, Diane Wiest's dad, and I love his character, and I love how she was an Oscar-winning actress, really great. I love how she plays the straight woman in this movie as like the mom character. It's really good. It's just all around, the cast is great. So the kids go to the pier at night, and Michael at this concert at the pier with a very memorable saxophone player. He spots Star, played by Jamie Gertz, and immediately is interested in her and sort of follows her around the pier. And then it turns out she is part of a posse of these bad boys led by Kiefer Sutherland, who kind of go in and out the Carnival pier at night and kind of terrorizing the locals a little bit. We see Corey Haim kind of wandering around by himself wearing this amazing duster. In fact, his costumes in this film are pretty rad. And he wanders into this comic book shop where he meets the Frog Brothers, who are these kids his age. And I like how it shows their hippie parents sort of passed out, like they're stoned, and the kid kind of leaving the kids on their own. And they sell comics, and they also warn Sam about the vampires by giving him a vampire comic. So we have this stage set for this story to unfold with missing children, this weird town, and this group of vampires led by David, Kiefer Sutherland, and a whole bunch of kind of punk rock metalheads. I love the depiction of the vampires in this film, and I think the strength of this film is the cast and how young and cute and sexy they are. So David challenges Michael to a motorcycle race along this the beach to this bluff. So we have almost like a Rubber Without a Cause kind of racing scene. And I like how Michael's character, he buys the leather jacket. He starts to get a little more of an edge. He gets his ear pierced. And he slowly becomes one of them. And in this scene where they have him drink blood. And Jamie Gertz's character Star and this little kid, is it Maddie, I think? Who's one of the missing children. They are almost turned as vampires, not quite. So there's a love story, there is a rivalry, and then there's this great part with the kids who are the comic relief, and that is Sam, Corey Haim's character, and the Frog Brothers, who are these young vampire slayers. And Corey Feldman was really funny in it, and he plays it really straight, and that makes it very hilarious. Diane Wiest plays it really straight, and then there is her boyfriend, this older guy who is kind of in the twist, which I won't give away, just in case some people haven't seen it, who he owns the video store on the boardwalk. So it's just a treat in every possible way. It has a great soundtrack, great performances. It's a very full film. It has it really kind of has something for everyone. I just think this is just a really great film, really fun for kids. I think would love it, and grown-ups as well. I mean, I just think if you really want to just have fun with a great horror film that will make you laugh and just be completely entertaining, you've got to watch The Lost Boys. Now, it does have 2 sequels that I have not seen, so I guess I'm not a hardcore fan. I just really love the original movie. The new ones, I think one stars Corey Feldman. Haven't seen it. Maybe I'll check it out sometime. And then there is a comic book series, I believe, and there's actually a novelization of this that's really hard to find. I looked for it on eBay, and it was like $50 or even more. So I will definitely keep my eyes out for that next time I go thrift shopping, because that would be a really fun thing to have in my library. But overall, Lost Boys is like a total treat, and I will continue to watch this film for many, many years. I don't think I would ever stop watching this. Every couple of years I will rent it. I don't own a copy, but I rent it or just watch it in my library and have a great time and a great laugh. So Batilda's here. Now, we both love this film. We discussed it last night after watching it, and we were having a debate. Who's cuter in this film, Jason Patric or Kiefer Sutherland? Now, I'm going to go with Jason Patric, but I have a
Regina,
feeling...
You know I love the bad boys. I'm going to have to go with Kiefer.
Yeah, I know that, Batilda, but let me ask you this. Has Lestat ever called you back? Didn't think so. All right, well, we'll see you next time in our Haunted Drive-In. Bye.